Hi, sis. I'm sending this video to you. You asked me a few weeks ago how we had changed our unit around, and I wanted to tell you that it was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. We were using John Carter's 8-stage model. John Carter was a Harvard guy, and so when he first came in, first off, remember when they canned Larry? Larry tried to change things around, but he didn't do it right. So they canned Larry, they brought in Steve. Steve was a change expert. So he comes in and he gets a bunch of us together, some of the managers, and he asks for volunteers to create a coalition. Basically what he says is that since we're working with groups of people, it doesn't make any sense for one or two people to make all the changes. You need a group of people to decide what the larger group of people are going to do. So he comes in and he tells us that we have to change some things, and we ask, why do we have to change? Things seem to be working the way they are. And so he lays it out why we have to change and why we have to change right now. Because basically if we continue down this road, by the end of the year, the unit's going to be in trouble. The second thing we did was create the coalition. Now the coalition is a broad-based unit of 12 people from all different departments, really no managers. The managers help to drive it, but the coalition is based on just general employees. When we developed our vision and strategy, we figured out ways to help our employees to buy into the whole change process so that it was a self-propagating prophecy. And we did this by developing programs that would reward both individuals and departments for the levels of change that they were making. When we communicated the vision for the change, we had to make sure that everybody bought into the system and that the change was very positive, that they thought it was a great idea. In some cases, they thought it was their idea. And once we knew that we had buy-in, then of course we would go with it. Excuse me. After we had communicated the change, then we enabled the broad base of people. And by that, we mean we began to develop the change based on departmental needs, questions that we had, feedback from meetings. We had regular weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly meetings to find out if everything was working. If it wasn't, why wasn't it working? Whether we had to have further buy-in, if we had to have more planning meetings. There was constant communication going back and forth. Then we had to generate the short-term wins. The short-term wins was probably one of the easiest things to do. With the short-term wins, of course, we developed programs to reward our people and departments. When we have people who have never received an award before get up in front of the group and receive their award, they get really charged up. And when they get charged up, they kick everybody else in the butt. And it really begins to gain momentum. The only problem with gaining momentum, change is kind of like a team of horses. Once you get them going, you have to know how to steer them, because if you don't, they'll get out of control, and you don't know where you're going to end up. And so you have to have some way to steer this change, and that's basically what we're doing by consolidating our gains, creating more change, so that we know we're going in the right direction at that point. From here, we're going to anchor all these changes to make sure that they're permanent. And the only way we could do that is to hire some fresh blood that already knew what they were doing. They had already been schooled in this particular change that we were dealing with. And so we hired 3 managers that were very effective in the changes that we were making. They had already been working there in those changes. And they made sure that those problem departments would never go back to the old way of doing things, which was very inefficient for us. Once we had all the changes in place, then our entire unit was a much happier place. Our culture did change. It changed quite a bit. From the old culture of drudgery and work to the new culture of Monday morning is no longer drudgery. It's fun to be here. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of meetings. Everybody is constantly communicating back and forth, not just by emails. Our meetings are no longer 3-hour affairs. Our meetings are never more than 25 minutes, and usually not more than 10 minutes. And a lot of times they're video conferences where no matter where we are, we can even use our iPhone to be part of the meeting. That way we don't have to waste everybody's time. If somebody has something else that they have to do, then of course they can go off and do that. If somebody has something that's going to take more than 10 minutes, then they'll get together with their manager on that. Basically, with John Kotter's 8-stage model, the first stage is establish a sense of urgency. The second stage is create a guiding coalition. Third stage, develop a vision and strategy. Fourth stage, communicating the change vision. Fifth stage, empowering broad-based action. Sixth stage, generating short-term wins. Seventh stage, consolidating gains and creating more change. And finally, the eighth change is anchoring the new approaches into the culture. That's basically all we did, and we turned it around. So if you have any questions, give me a ring, sis. We'll talk to you next week.